Keleisha, welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm so excited, but also very nervous at the same time.
Nah, you're fine. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Man, as the name suggests, I am Keleisha Carter. It's crazy. I used to hate my name, but now I love it.
Uh-huh.
But I am born and raised in Jamaica, and I moved to the US I was at a place where I was very stuck in my career, didn't know what to do. Thanks to HGTV, I'm like, I'm gonna try this thing called real estate because it seems fun. Lo and behold, I was unable to get a loan, so transitioned from there and started raising money because persons within friends and family saw what I was doing and decided, okay, I believe in you. Let me help you get closer to that goal. And in doing that as well, I realized that I lacked confidence in terms of raising money. I didn't believe in myself because I didn't have people within my network to give me money. So now that I've overcome that hurdle to an extent, because you'll always have it, I'm trying to help other persons as well to be like, hey, you can raise money despite where you started, despite your network. As long as you work on your mindset and work on bettering yourself, you can do anything.
Man, I have so many questions. So first, when you were in Jamaica, what were you doing?
I was doing marketing, so I was the events and marketing coordinator for a big insurance company back home,
Mhm.
and that's what I went to school for was marketing. So I literally landed the
Mhm.
ideal job after I graduated college, and I was
Nice.
like, "This is gonna be the thing I'm doing forever." But look at where I'm at now.
Yeah. I mean, you're essentially doing marketing for yourself.
True, it's just crazy. It's
Yeah.
everything all aligns, it all aligns.
Yeah. So then you moved to the US and then you just started raising money. What did you raise money for?
So actually, before I started real estate, I was working in the restaurant biz first. So
Okay.
it wasn't that I move and then think real estate is going to be the thing. I was still trying to
Oh.
figure it out, but I
Mhm.
was just being surrounded by people who were doing real estate and sharing their experience as well. And I just decided to take a leap of faith and start doing fix and flip in Memphis. And from there, yeah, it's crazy. And I was living in another state too during
Yeah.
COVID, which is insane.
Hmm.
But it's from doing that because I took the step, I was at a point where I was tired of reading books, listening podcasts, but I took a step, did the fix and flip out of state. And in doing that, I learned that I couldn't get a loan because I wasn't a US citizen.
Hmm.
And then from that, just talking to more people and lenders, I'm like, you know what? This is an issue, but there is someone else who is in my shoe who still got started in real estate and propelled and grew in real estate. And I was like, there has to be a way where I can get money. And I think we were just talking to friends and family, and they're like, hey, I have money here, I have money there. We're like, okay, this could be a thing. At that point, had no clue this is what they call using other people's money.
Right.
No
It
clue.
just it just out of necessity.
Yes.
Oh, so how did your fix and flip go? Did you continue doing it?
No, I mean, listen, I am not a fan of fix and flip, okay? But ideally, when I started that, it was to do the burn method. Because,
Hmm.
of course, starting out, we were taught that this is the perfect thing to do because you
Hmm.
rinse and repeat. So
Yeah.
that was the intention. And when we realized that we couldn't refinance, we're like, okay, we have to sell this property. Good thing
Oh.
that we had a good spread in the
Hmm.
first place, you know?
Yeah.
We were also in the middle of another project as well that we're going to do the burr method, and then
Hmm.
found out that you will have to sell that property as well. And from then we're like, you know what? We're running out of capital as well. So we need something else to generate more money. So that's where we pivot into doing short-term rental in the Smokies. And with that, we needed more money because
Hmm.
now we're taking on a DSCR loan that requires 25% down payment.
Yeah.
And at that point, we're like, okay, yes, we have money from savings. Yes, we have money from fix and flip. We need additional money. Again, friends and family came in for that, had no clue how to structure a deal as how I know now. So, persons talk about having a capital partner or a PMP
Hmm.
and split cash flow, add them to LLC. I had no clue about that. Listen, like,
Yeah.
we just had people who trust in us, who believed in what we were doing, and be like, hey, here's the money, go do it. And we were like, you know what? What the only thing we could think of is we'll give you some of the cash flow. That's it.
Mhm.
And they were like,
Yeah.
okay, nothing complicated, and we kept it simple.
Wow.
Yeah, super,
All
super
right.
simple.
And so You didn't have them secured against the property or any of that?
I had no clue. I did not know anything about that
You,
at
you
all.
know, it's funny. I did the same exact thing when I first started raising money. I had
Yeah.
three private money lenders on one house, and I didn't have them secured against anything. So I still have that house, and I just secure them against other properties. Like 2 years later. But yeah, like you just do
Even now,
things.
I
Yeah.
don't even do it. I haven't even switched to securing against property or anything like that.
Mm,
And I think this is where also you want to be with your private money lenders. You want to get to
mm,
that point where they trust you.
yeah.
Now, even friends and family that I work with, I still do the security, but I
Hmm.
also want to get to the point where we've built that trust. They see how I
Yeah.
do business, where they're like, Keleisha, it's okay, just a promissory note. To get
Yeah.
to that level is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so you fixed and flipped in Memphis, which is kind of funny because at the same time I was looking at Memphis as well. And then you did the Gray Smoky, so you have short-term rentals in Gray Smokies. So then what is your next step?
Next step now is so being on both space of doing fix and flip, doing rentals, both long and short term, because I do have long-term rentals now.
Mhm.
I have one MTR. I'm glad I went through that phase because now I realize I don't like being an operator. I
Mhm.
don't like dealing with tenants.
Yeah.
I don't like dealing with guests are calling and this is happening. No, but I've also learned so much about the investing side of things and managing teams and stuff like that, that now I rather be on the lending space.
Mhm.
I may not be doing that for the next 5 to 10 years, but that's where I am pivoting right now too, because I see that there's a ton of opportunities where persons want to lend, but they don't know the first step of what to do. There are also persons who want to raise capital, but they don't know the first step to do. Everyone is just sharing surface level information. And I
Mhm.
always say that if I get to the point where I truly understand how to raise money, I want to share that with people. I want to share the details because if you're like the type of person where you need every single detail, then I want to share that. I don't want to give you surface level info because a lot of times having the details gives you that confidence to go out there and raise the money.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm in a very similar boat with you where friends and family, I'm raising money from friends and family,
Yeah.
and they're not in this world. They don't want to go through all the brain damage that we're going through.
Yeah.
And so I always say, like, ask me whatever question you want. If there's anything just like a little bit
Mhm.
off, let me know because I want to explain it to you.
Yeah.
It just makes it easier. It makes it easier to make a fast decision too, because good loans don't stay available.
No, not at all. No, you're so right with that too, because like once they're comfortable, it makes a good landing experience for
Mhm.
you, for them, peace of mind, everything. And it makes them easier to make a decision if they want to reinvest. And that's
Yeah.
always the goal. You want to get them to keep reinvesting because you're providing such a great experience. And in return as well, because they have such a good experience, they're going to refer someone over to you as well. So now your
Yeah.
network of private money lenders are growing. These are things that have worked for me. A lot of my lenders came from referrals from other lenders.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best compliment, right?
Yes. Than anything
Um,
else.
yeah. All right. So you get into raising capital. You work with friends and family, and then how do you make that transition to now other people outside of word of mouth?
Okay. So with that as well, when I did my first one, I was like, okay, this can be a thing. And now I started hearing using other people's money more. But I needed to understand, in order for me to feel confident how I am, John, I need to understand the process.
Mhm.
And what does the private money lending process looks like? What are the risks involved? How do I explain this to people? And that is where it's super, super crucial. Like different levels of investors, how do you explain the process, the risk involved? And I invested in Mastermind. So I did like Mastermind with Amy Majori. So I did that. I learned about the process, understood it. And now because I'm able to understand it, I'm able to explain it to different level of investors. So what we tend to find is that when we understand the private money lending process, we use the real estate lingos.
Mhm.
And we assume that every private money lender is in real estate or familiar with real estate. But what I've learned is that majority of my network, they're not in real estate.
Mm.
So I have to find a way. How do you break down this entire process to your non-real estate investors as well? And
Mm.
I think being able to do that, it has given me so much more confidence to raise money. So the first step I would even suggest or share with anyone trying to raise capital is invest in your education. A lot of us as well, we want to pick everyone's brain, and that is okay, but be respectful of people's time. And I find when people commit and pay for something, they tend to commit more and put more effort
Mm.
into learning and taking action. So that highly recommend investing in your education because that's what I did and that's what got me here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, when people come to you and say, "Hey, I have some money to lend," are they pretty much just ready to go, or how does that work?
No, I wish that was the case though.
Uh,
You do have lenders who are ready to lend, and you find the ones that are ready to lend, they've either lent money before, or they've done their research, or they are in the real estate space and they're at a point that where they're just ready to deploy. Then
mm.
you have lenders who they've never lent money before, they're completely green, right?
Mhm.
But this is where whenever they're like, hey, Keleisha, I see what you're doing. I have some capital. I don't know the first step. I don't know if I'm ready, to be honest. That use that opportunity to get to know the person a little bit more. What does that mean? Why are you looking to lend? What is your end goal that you're looking to achieve? Where's the money coming from? How soon are you looking to lend? Most times, this conversation is not for you to get them to fund a deal, but truly
Mm.
understand what their goal is and to use that opportunity to educate them as well about the lending experience, about the risks that are involved, about the worst case scenario.
Mm.
Because I love telling them about the worst case scenario. We had someone in my accountability call last night and they asked the same thing. And I was like, hey, don't try to close them.
Mm.
Understand, try to explain the process to them so they feel comfortable with you. Because guess what? The more time and effort you put into trying to make them comfortable, when you have a deal and they're ready, trust me, they're gonna be
Mm.
ready. But if they're like, they're gonna be like, okay. And then by the time you start paperwork, they back out
Right.
because they still weren't ready.
Mm.
So that would be those are, yeah, I think a lot of times too, like with the new lenders, you got to nurture those relationships. And something that I see that's very common is that when persons meet lenders or introduce themselves to lenders, is that they want to close a deal right away.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I was like, guys, like, you have to nurture that relationship. Yes, you need the money now, but imagine if you nurture that relationship now. They could be ready next week, or they could be ready the next couple of months, like always nurture, but everyone just wants the money right now, right now, right now, right now.
Mhm.
No. Yes, sometimes you have a deal you need to close, but there's also a different approach to doing that as well, even if you need the money now. It's like how I raised the first $50,000 online from someone I've never met, even though I needed the money right now. It's all about approach and your introduction. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that I've experienced as well. Hey, got a deal. These are the numbers. I don't have any pictures. I don't have an address. Yeah.
You need the info. You need the info because especially with an experienced investor or lender, right?
Mhm.
Yes, you need the money, but also be professional because if you take the time and put all the information together and share it with them, you make it easier for that lender to decide, do I want to land on this deal or not? Because you're providing the basic info for them to look on the information to conduct their due diligence. And then from then, they can be like, you know what, this seems like a solid deal. Now, let me see about your experience, your track record. Let me inquire more about the deal. But if you're like, I need $20,000 for 6 months, nothing, you're like, and then you wonder why you don't get your deal funded. It's just
Yeah.
not the right way to do it.
Yeah, for sure. There's no talk about security. There's no talk about the rate. Is
Yeah.
it an annualized rate or a flat rate? There's none of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, okay. So then are you willing to talk about your nurture process?
Oh, of course.
So yeah, so talk about that. Like how, when you find someone reaches out and they're just for whatever reason not ready? What do
Mhm.
you like? What's your follow-up process? How do you make sure that they get comfortable?
Okay. So I'm from the start to finish, from the
Mhm.
introduction. I
Yeah.
currently use a system. I use a few systems. I use Monday. My Monday, I have like a whole managed pipeline that I created. I can
Mhm.
share you with that link as well. That pipeline is what that allows me from the intake, from the lead magnet until I nurture, until I close them. So
Mhm.
what does that mean? I usually have a intake form that my lenders have to fill out. Once they
Yep.
fill out that intake form, that gives me an idea of where they're at in their journey. From there, I set up a follow-up call. From my follow-up call as well, I now have a 15-minute call just to kind of talk more to them and get more clarification on what they submitted on the on the intake form. From there as well, depending on the conversation, if I need to follow up with them, that then I may adjust the pipeline that I need to follow up. When do I need to follow up? I'll set dates when I need to follow up. And my system, it allows you to send me reminders that I need to follow up with that
Mhm.
person. Or maybe the follow-up could be an email, right? So when the date arrives, I send a follow-up email as well for them to book a call or for us to check in. I also make notes on what was the last conversation that we had. So that's what my whole follow-up is. And I categorize every lender at different stages and status.
Mhm.
So depending on if they're willing to lend right now in 6+ months, then I set up different automations as well, what that email automation would look like. And once I also have that conversation with the lender, they go in a, what do you call this? Drip campaign. But for those who are not in real estate space, a drip can is, let's remove the word drip campaign. I'm not going to use that
Mhm.
phrase, but it's like a sequence of emails that they get. Right.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
will do an intro email to say, hey, this is what we talk about. It was a pleasure talking to you. From that, they may get another email after a couple of days about my PML lending guide that I usually share as well. From that, they may get another email from a deal that I've done. So I love sharing case studies. Case
Mhm.
studies are a true definition of helping your investor to see deals that you have done, how they have how I've structured those deals, the lessons learned from those deals, the hiccups. So I do a bunch of case studies, and it's just sharing a bunch of resources to your investor instead of doing one email and just compiling everything in one email. It can be overwhelming.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
everything, I just create different sequences as well. And then from there, they have resources there. And then I just keep following up, following up, following up, check in. I love doing personalized message as well, depending on how the conversation goes with me and that lender. A lot of times I will save their number in my phone. So I'll do personalized message. Like if it's something that I remember that they were on a trip or it's their birthday coming up, there's just something in my brain. I remember those things. I will easily send a text message. It's not coming
Mhm.
from a green bubble, which you guys may think that is insane, but trust me, it does something. um,
Yeah.
from seeing it from a blue bubble, it does
Mhm.
something. So I love doing personalized messages. It's really the simple things as well. Happy New Year, happy birthday. Hey, how's it going? Like simply checking in, right? So as much as
Mhm.
I have my automation set up, I have my days where I do follow-ups, but I do manual follow-ups. So that includes me texting my investors. Hey,
Mhm.
so now I do have lenders where we talk all the time, because they need help with something. I need help with something. It's not about just when I need a deal funded. So I don't have to be following up with them, but check in sometimes. Hey, how's it going? Right?
Mhm.
Where let them like expect that you're gonna ask for money for a deal, and they're like, wait,
Right.
you're not asking me for money. You're truly just checking in. Yes, I truly
Yeah.
am checking in. And then from there, like if I do text messages or calls, I still go back in my system on Monday and I make that update. So it helps me to keep track about the conversation that I've had with them, and the last time we spoke, and that if I need a follow up, or if there's any new life updates, because in you doing that follow up as well, you get to learn if that investor has more money coming in, or if they're looking to land on a next deal. Like it happens to me all the time. I have investors who be like, okay, Kalisha, my money is tapped out. tapped out, and I still check in. And just as checking in, they're like, "Oh, I'll be ready to lend again by X time." I'm like, "Didn't you say your money tapped out?" And best believe, like, I'm the first person this investor has ever worked with. He's never lent money on real estate before. And randomly in the conversation, he's like, "I'll have money by this time." And I'm like, "I thought you said you were tapped out." He's like,
Mm,
"Oh, well, this happened at work, da da dee, da da da."
mm,
New money coming in, and he wants
right,
to deploy that money. So nurturing is so, so crucial. But again, if you want to really be effective with nurturing, you need to have a system. Like, it's so, so crucial. An automated system is very crucial. It helps you to stay organized so you don't even get overwhelmed as well.
right.
That was a lot, but that's a little bit about my nurturing system.
So that's, I mean, that's great because you're not just completely relying on one thing. You've got so many different ways, and you're creating that personal touch too, which I think is super helpful.
Yeah.
And I mean, women are just better at this than men. Like I get overwhelmed. I just check in. It's like, all right, well, I don't even do that with my friends that I grew up with. So, um, yeah.
It's all about like being intentional. Like, oh my God, it's crazy because I literally stressed this with my class last night. I was like, guys, raising money is amazing.
Mhm.
We're in the business of relationships. I cannot
Yeah.
stress that enough. Like, especially when it comes to money, it's sensitive. Commit
Mhm.
to it. But if
Yeah.
you put in the work to nurture those relationships, it is gonna pay off
Yeah.
all the time. Like, people ask me up to this day, how long have you been raising money? And when I tell them the time frame, they're like, I thought you've been doing this for 5, 10 years. No, because I committed and dedicated my time to, if I want to raise capital, I'm gonna spend the time and raise money. And I'm
Mhm.
gonna nurture those relationships because we are in the business of relationships.
Yeah. And you weren't doing this and that and this. It was just this is what you're doing.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's just one thing.
Yeah.
Everything else play a role, like to build your portfolio. You can build your portfolio because now, because you are building the skill of raising money,
Mhm.
someone else will come to you and be like, "Hey, I need money for this deal. I'll give you ownership in this asset."
Yeah.
Like, you can create win-win. I had a mentor of mine told me once, he's like, "Hey, if you truly dedicate the time and master this skill, deals will come to you and
Yeah.
money will come to you that you can pick, choose, and refuse." And it took me a while for me to understand that. And when I see it, I was like, "Oh, I get it now."
Yeah.
Just keep building that skill. Just keep building, keep building. Because everyone needs money. Who doesn't need money?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
we're all gonna need money. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really appreciate you sharing this because one of the problems that I've had in my own business is I'm trying to go out and buy properties and I'm trying to go out and raise money. Then I'm trying to go out and do all these different things. And really, the most successful people say, build one thing, focus on one thing, get it successful, and then everything else will just kind of fall into place.
It's crazy that you say that because I think what I've seen people struggling with, and I struggle with this too, is FOMO. You know,
Yeah.
when everyone posting, "I made this huge money on assignment fee," or "I just
Hmm.
bought this entire portfolio," and all that stuff. So when you are seeing all of that and you are focused on this one thing that may not be generating money, or it's growing slowly, you're like, then what am I doing? I'm over here focused on this one thing and putting all this effort and energy, and I'm not seeing the result. It's tough. And
Yeah.
this is where, like, having a strong mindset is going to be crucial to know that, okay, this is the vision. This is where I want to go. I don't care what this person got going on.
Mhm.
I'm gonna stay in my lane. And I faced that when I just started out. I
Yeah.
really did, where I wanted to stop doing it and go back to doing fix and flips, go back to buying more rentals. And I had to keep reminding myself, Keleisha, you're in your own lane. Your path is unique to you. Stay in your lane. These are things that I was reminding myself, like, just stay in your lane. Like, yes, someone is at this level, but their journey is completely different from you. You
Mhm.
guys started at a completely different space. Like, stay in your lane, keep going, keep going. And that's how I have to talk to myself. But FOMO is real,
Oh
okay?
yeah, for sure. I mean, Yeah, absolutely. Because there's so many success stories, and it's hard to keep reminding yourself that it's all a highlight reel. They don't tell you about all the tough things that they're going through.
No, no.
And
They make it seem like it is perfect. Yes, you go, they will be like, yeah, real estate, you have the tough stuff, but what exactly is it? You know,
yeah,
like don't tell me that by the moment I get in, I'm gonna make $1,000 a month or 5,000 or $50,000 a month.
right.
Yes, you can, but tell me that this is the level of work I'm gonna have to commit
Mhm.
to get this, you know? So it's
Yeah.
like you can make it, but you have to put a level of commitment. Like now, I also want to grow my school community. I want to do my debt fund. It is going to require a level of commitment in me.
Mhm. Yeah.
And yes, everyone tell me about the amazing thing about it, but when I look at it, it's like, okay, this is going to require this time, X time, this overworking, all that stuff. But if I want to get there, I have to commit to it 110%.
Yeah, that's one of the tough things though, because you want to accomplish all these things, and I'm still guilty of it because I want to do a community, I want to build my own community, but I'm not ready yet. I need to fix all these things first before I can get to that next step. And having patience is sometimes
Woo.
it's really tough.
A lot of times
Yeah.
it's so tough, but I think too, we also need to take the time to assess our goals and what we're chasing
Mhm.
and see if they aligned. Because a lot of times, if they don't align, they tend to pull us apart.
Yeah.
And I now understand that. So my goals ever since 2024, everything has to be in alignment. There has
Mhm.
to be, this is the bigger goal. Everything else is just an effect, or what do you
Right.
call it? A branch from
Mhm.
that tree. So it
Yeah.
all has to align. But if it doesn't, you are gonna be pulled in so many different directions. And as I said, like mindset is gonna play a crucial part, like spend time as well to work on personal development. That could be listening to podcasts as often as possible. That kind of reminds you of how to improve your mindset, how to improve your thinking. And when I say mindset, it could be a podcast that talks about patience. It could be a podcast that talks about confidence. It could be a podcast that talks about productivity. It's those little things that you're going to get gems from those. It's like books that like The Power of the Subconscious Mind. I'm re-listening that book for maybe the fifth or the sixth time because I'm at a stage now where I'm like, okay, I just need it to be playing in my head. I may not need to get every single thing, but I just need it in the background. And it's those ongoing practices is going to help you to improve your mindset, develop the patience that you want to develop as well to get
Mhm.
better at your craft and just focus on that one thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to that. But it's one of those. But I like how you said you're re-listening to it for the fifth time because a lot of times we hear books that are good, and we pick up different topics or
Gems.
different gems from it at different time stages
Yeah.
in our, I guess, careers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I've been listening to the first time I listened to that book, let's say probably 2016 was the first time I listened to that book.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I didn't get it fully then. And
Hmm.
it's to another time, I'm like, okay, I get this piece. So
Yeah.
now I keep going back to that book whenever I feel like I'm at a stage where I need to kind of pump it up a little bit or get
Yeah.
to a certain level. I'm like, yep, let me go back to that book and re-listen to it.
Yeah. Same thing. I did I just finished listening to the Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself for like the third time, and then I'm gonna go back to the Vivid Vision because now I need to, refocus and all that. Yeah.
I've been trying to finish that book and I can't finish that book.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, even I just listened to it and it was a tough listen the first time. I don't know why. Maybe I just wasn't ready for it.
Oh, maybe because I started listening to it last year and I was like, I can't finish that book. I can't. Every time I
Yeah.
go back, I'm like, I just can't finish that book. I'm gonna give it
Yeah.
one more try though.
Yeah. So we mentioned mindset a lot. I know this is going to be a tough question, but what's the biggest mindset hurdle you've had to get over?
That you will never get rid of imposter syndrome.
Mm, yeah.
every level that you get to or you aim towards, there's going to be a different level of imposter syndrome. Why? Because you've never been to where you want to go. So it's new. You have no clue.
Mhm.
So yes, people talk about fake it till you make it, or you don't know what you're doing. That's okay.
Yeah.
That is okay, but that was the biggest hurdle and it clicked literally last year having a conversation with a coach of mine and he literally said that. I have a video about it too. Like it was a deep conversation. And I was like, how do you get rid of imposter syndrome? He's like, Kels, you will never get rid of it. Ever. When you have this drive, this level of ambition to keep getting better, when you set a goal for yourself, you're going to aim and you're going to get it. And now you're like, okay, I got it. I want to aim higher. And because you want to
Mhm.
aim higher, you're like, I've never been here before. How am I going to do this? I have imposter syndrome. I'm faking it. I'm not a guru. And we tell ourselves these things all the time because
Mhm.
we've never been there. But you will never ever get rid of imposter syndrome is when you start having those feelings or those thoughts, it's what do you do at the moment to not suppress,
Mhm.
but to accept it and kind of push yourself to be like, yes, I have this feeling right now, but I can do this. Yes, I have this feeling, but I've done this before. Yes, I've had this feeling. It's like self-talk is going to be
Yeah.
so crucial, and reframing your words is going to be super crucial in this moment. And that's how you're going to become better and develop a stronger even mindset as well.
Yeah, at the last mastermind, the last sub team mastermind, Dean Graziosi,
Yeah.
he's talked about imposter syndrome. Pace talks about imposter syndrome, and so if I kind of see it as well, if they constantly have to push through it, then it's just never going to go away.
No, no, and I'm like, okay, this won't go away. So and you do get it, no matter what
Yeah.
stage, sometimes it randomly comes because then you either see something on social media or someone who this happens to me too. Someone sees so much in you that you don't even see in yourself.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you can do this, you can do that. Have you ever thought about this? You'd be great at that. And it's something that you would like to do, but then you're like, I can't. I'm not a guru. I'm not an expert. I can't do it.
Yeah.
But then you think about it and you're like, I'm gonna try this. And then you try it and you do it and you're like, oh wow, but
Yeah.
also having good people around you to support and encourage you is so crucial. And just to
Mhm.
see like your potential also helps to kind of give you that push that you need sometimes. But imposter syndrome never going away, ever, never ever.
Yeah. It's funny because you had mentioned, I think you briefly mentioned opening a debt fund, and I
Mhm.
had someone say, "Oh, you should open a fund." I was like, "Well, who's going to want to work with me? I don't have enough
Yeah.
people in my network to make it worth it." So, um, I'm
You
interested to
know what?
see, yeah, where yours goes.
That's gonna be a story, and I'm gonna be very open right now because the debt fund is I got into the space of doing a real estate fund and it
Mhm.
didn't work out because I had partners that time. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this debt fund type of thing. And doing the smaller loans, I'm like, you need to stop doing the smaller loans, just do the fund.
Mhm. Yeah.
And from there, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the fund, did the deck, everything, fixing up. But one part of me is like, this is gonna be tough. So I keep delaying.
Yeah.
And it's not of the point of finding investors is it? Yes, it's everyone issue right now. Like no
Mhm.
matter what space you're in, raising money is an issue right now.
Mhm.
But it's truly the belief or the fear that I'm gonna have this debt fund. What if I don't raise the amount of money that I set out to? What if I can't find investors? What if I fail? What if I this? And it's all those things
Yeah.
that are happening. But I think also like making that commitment to sometimes vocally saying it out in public to be like,
Yeah.
this is the goal, then it makes you accountable that you have to commit to this because now that you've said it. And
Yeah.
finding people to hold you accountable as well is very crucial to kind of push you so that way you don't back out. So that's what I'm going through right now.
Yeah, it's something scary about putting something out there that scares you, but it kind of forces you to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it pushes you to get it done, and that accountability is very, very, very crucial as well.
Yeah.
It goes a far way.
Yeah. Um, very cool. So I guess knowing what you know now, what's some advice that you'd give to yourself when you're just getting started?
Uh, hmm. I would say whatever your gut tells you to do, do it.
Mhm.
No matter how scared you are, just do it. Take that risk. They say jump scared, or I don't remember what the phrase is, but that feeling of when you feel scared, just do
Mhm.
it anyway.
Yeah.
That would be my biggest takeaway because when I started, I knew deep down that I wanted to raise money, but I was
Mhm.
so scared that I went and did something else as
Mhm.
well. So I went and
Yeah.
did something else. And then from there, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to keep going. So I think that is going to be the biggest thing that you can ever do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Great advice. Yeah. Cool. Well, Keleisha, we're running out of time, but I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. You've shared so much like
Thank
wonderful information. Uh, how can people reach out to you? How can people work with you?
They can reach out to me. All my socials, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn is at Keleisha Carter. And then also they'll join my free community as well, where I do weekly Q&A sessions about how to raise money for your real estate projects and all of that as well. So they can find me there as well. That's where I'm way more active and super active on YouTube and Instagram.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, we will make sure to have all of those links in the description so it's just easier for everyone.
Yes.
Um, Keleisha, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. This was good.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Looking forward to the end product. I hope you guys have found a lot of value from it as well, as much as I did. You know, like every time I say it out loud, I real it's also a reminder as well to keep going.
Mhm.
And I just hope that it can inspire someone to take that step as well to go out there and gain confidence in raising money for their projects as well.
Oh yeah, I've definitely taken away so much from this. So yeah, thank you.
Love it, love it, love it. No, thanks for having me. This was good.